Right, folks, another serious one. Serious with a little bit of humour. Put in half an hour long. And this one is about divorce. People have been asking us about divorce. I seem to have a lot of younger people that follow me. Teenagers, early teens and that kind of thing. And some people are getting caught up in the divorce and all the separation of their parents. Obviously their mum and dads are splitting up. And sometimes people are, they need advice, or they just need some kind of a word from somebody. Now me and June, we are both from, believe it or not, broken homes. My mum and dad split up. My mum and dad split up 3 times. My dad was like a fucking boomerang. But in the end, he made his choice, and that was it. And in one way, I mean, my dad, I don't know if my dad knows this or not, I don't know if my dad will see this or not. In the end, I respected him for actually going and not coming back, because what was happening.
Well, everybody knows where they are then.
Yeah, everybody knows where they are. I do wish my dad had left in the first place and then not come back. And I don't mean that in a nasty way or anything like that. I just wish he'd fucked off and not come back. But me and my dad have got a great relationship. We always have had, to be fair, me and my dad. I think the 3rd time he left, I was a bit really pissed off with him, because I worked with him and that was it. But it happens. I understand completely why my mum and dad split up and that kind of thing.
I think as you get older though, I think you do become, you can look at it as an adult, can't you? You can look at it from the outside and you can see that perhaps, it was the right thing.
Yeah, and June's mum and dad split up.
I was only a baby though, so I'm only really aware of having, I was going to say one parent, but I don't mean one parent, because my dad did play a very active part in my life, mainly financially, but he was always there. He usually picked me up from school, spent 15-20 minutes, half an hour with me, and then went off. So he was always around.
He was always there, keeping an eye on June's mother.
Yes,
basically,
absolutely.
that's what that was about. It was controlling. It was.
I think it was a case of, I don't want you, but nobody else is having you.
Where my dad wasn't like that. My dad had actually made his bed, he'd gone, and that was it. And that was it, really. I think if my mum had met somebody else, my dad wouldn't have been bothered. I think he'd have been quite happy for my mum to have met somebody else and moved on.
Whereas my dad probably wouldn't. He'd have probably hired a hitman and...
Yeah, because that's how it was. And, you know...
Had him done over.
Yeah, and if June's family do watch this, well, that's how we think about it, and that's it. But what this video is mainly about is to talk about the effects it has on the children of the relationship. And
it's about life with divorced parents, isn't it?
It is. It's a tough one to talk about, really, because although, like I said, I've not really had any problems with my father breaking up.
I think it's maybe going to be a bit one-sided, isn't it? Because it's going to be about how we felt when our parents separated. We can't really give their sides of it. So it's just really how we felt about it and how we cope with it. And
what it is that the parents, when they split up, right, don't think that your kid will be okay, right? It's a tough one to talk about as such, because you don't want to stay together for the sake of the children. See, I'm not one of these people that I'm not one of these people that says, let's stay together for the sake of the children. Let's have another kid to try and make this relationship work. Because I personally don't think it's right. If you're not happy with your wife or you're not happy with your husband, sticking around and both being miserable brings everybody else down. You're all walking around on eggshells, you don't know what the fuck's going off, you don't know who's going to erupt, you don't know what you're walking into at the end of the day after a day's work, and it's not on. Personally, I think if you do make the break, you make the break and that's it. How do you see it, June?
Yeah, I'm with you on that pretty much.
Only pretty much?
Yeah, pretty much. I think there's an element of if things aren't too broken within the marriage, I think quite often it is worth giving
Yes.
it your best shot to make things right. If it's not repairable, the marriage,
Yeah.
the relationship, then I think for everybody's sake, mostly the kids,
Yeah.
because parents have got to put their feelings aside, really, haven't they, up to a point. I don't mean staying together for the sake of the kids, but what I mean is they've got to do what's right for them, but do what's right for the kids as well.
And this is what I was saying about my dad. When he left, he should have left the first time and not come back, because all it does, it creates an uncertainty. It creates a you don't know where you stand.
Yeah, there's always that. I mean, with me, my dad had left. Oh, sorry, no, he didn't leave. My mother left him. He was a serial adulterer, and I think after the third or fourth time, she decided enough's enough, and she walked out, which was a very brave thing to do.
Yeah.
In the early 70s.
In the early 70s.
In the early 70s, when there were no benefits, no help.
Yeah.
So she actually relied on my dad financially anyway, because there wasn't help out there, not like there is today. So he was always going to figure quite largely in our lives, but the downside of that was my mother was never really moved on, and because my dad was on the scene so much, i.e. picking me up from school every day, you always wondered if he was going to come back. Now, because he'd done it before, remember, so you never really drew a line under it. And I think my parents, I was 20 when they actually finally divorced, and even the day my mother died, I rang and told my dad, and he always thought up until that point that they would get back together, which I find incredibly sad.
And incredibly stupid.
Incredibly stupid, but it was the right thing for my mother to do, because she you know, had enough.
I haven't got a clue when my mum and dad divorced. I haven't got a clue.
No, I don't either.
For all I know, my dad could be a widow. But my mum's dead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters how old you are as that child either, because I was, like I say, a baby, and that like I say, I didn't really know any different to the way I was raised. I wasn't aware of having a father figure there in the normal sense. But then I've got my oldest sister, who is actually 20 years older than me, and she, all her life, hoped they would get back together because she remembered happier times, but I only knew unhappy times. So it's different for everybody. Yeah, and I think what you've got to do is when the parents have made that split, I'm not saying this is always the case, but usually there's a third party. Usually
yes, it's normally a third party. It's,
and what you've got to do is
would you consider that third party be a sexual partner or a gambling partner or a drinking partner, as in alcohol?
What are you on about?
Well, you're saying there's a third party. There's obviously a reason why people leave or marriage.
Yeah, I'm talking.
You're talking
a sexual partner.
You're talking.
Sexual partner. There's other reasons people leave, but usually there's a third party involved.
Yeah.
Isn't there? Because quite a lot of other issues can be worked through, but that is the ultimate betrayal. But that's not the only reason why people separate. But if there is a third party in that relationship, then you as that child, and this is incredibly difficult, I didn't succeed in doing it, I think you did up to a point, you can't take sides.
No.
And sadly, that isn't how human nature works. Me personally, I always took my mother's side. Because let's face it, she was the one there who was sticking a plaster on my knee when I fell over. She was there when I was ill. She was there when I couldn't sleep. She was there putting food on the table. And my dad just kind of threw money at the situation. And one thing that does stick in my mind, and I've never forgotten it, was I was 14. And I had to have a horse put down, which is, if anybody knows who's got horses or...
Well, any animal, but
horses in particular, it's not a nice thing to do. And at 14, my dad wasn't there. And to deal with that as a child, because you are still a child, is very difficult. I did it because, hey, I'm June and I do things. But he wasn't there. And it was in the days before mobile phones. Nobody could get hold of him. And I needed my dad there, and he wasn't there.
And where was your dad?
He was with his other woman.
There you go, you see.
But that's another thing, you see. I was never allowed to, although my mother was perfectly honest with me, I knew exactly what my dad was doing, what he was up to, because if I asked the question, my mother gave me the answer. She didn't stir it or try and tell lies or turn me against him, but if I asked the question, she had the respect or the honesty to give me the right answer. I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, you're on about honesty with the kids, weren't you? Accepting the other person. Yeah,
that's right. And because my dad pretended that he hadn't got this other life, it was all a bit, although I know about it, he pretended it was, so it was like the elephant in the room all the time, and that created a bit of an atmosphere when he was around, because it was something that you couldn't talk about. Nobody was honest about it. If he'd have perhaps been honest about it, then things wouldn't have been so difficult. If he'd have said, here's my telephone number, in extreme emergency, if you need to get me, this is the number you ring, but I'm going to be with this other woman, this other lady, and set you up for that. But he didn't. It was all kept a secret, and that was incredibly difficult to deal with, because you felt you hadn't got access to him. You felt you hadn't got access to your dad when you needed him.
Well, so I did, didn't I?
You did. You had that.
After a couple of years after my dad left home, and you stand by your mum kind of thing, because that's what you should do, you know. But after a couple of years, I made the decision to basically grow the fuck up and accept what my dad had done. Not everybody has to do this, you know, but I wanted to still have a relationship with my father. So I accepted that he'd got another woman, and I'll be totally honest with you people. If my mum and dad had split up the first time and my dad hadn't come back to my mum, if my mum had died and he'd met the woman he's with now, I'm perfectly happy with her. I've got no problems with her at all. I quite like her.
With things like that, it's difficult because your emotions are running high. Your dad's leaving. Your dad's leaving. He's in your mind as a child. Don't matter how old you are, whether you're 6, 16, 26.
I think
whatever. Your emotions are running. Your emotions are running high, and you've got to be very careful at that point, not to say anything you might regret. Because once it's out there, you can't take it back, and that could drive a wedge between you.
I don't think I actually spoke to my dad properly for a good couple of years, and then all of a sudden, my local Sunday side were playing in the village where he was playing, and we met up and we had a drink, and it just moved on from there. It was all okay. Like I say, I've got no problems with my so-called stepmom. Because I don't even know if my dad's married or not to her. I ain't got a clue. But it's got nothing to do with me. Yeah. It's my dad's life, and that's how it goes now. That's how it.
But I will say this. I mean, I think parents have got to accept that the relationship with the children is never, ever, ever going to be the same again.
No.
It isn't, because it's going to be different. No. It's going to be different. You might have a relationship with that parent that's left. However, it will be different. Even if it's a good relationship, it will be different.
I mean, my dad, mine and my dad's relationship is different. But I also think it's pretty...
It's perhaps better.
Yeah,
it's perhaps better because
it's better because he made the break and that was it.
Yeah,
I think if he'd have come back a fourth time and then left, I think I'd have kicked his fucking head in. And I honestly believe that, Dad, if you do watch this. But as it is, he didn't. He stood by the decision in the end, and I totally respect that. And me and my dad are great.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and I think as well, this is aimed at the parents really. Particularly if it's the parent that's left, never, ever, ever choose your new partner over your child. Never. Because that is unforgivable, and that child will never, ever forget that, and they will never forgive that. Likewise, if you're supposed to be seeing that child and you don't turn up, that's just,
and especially if that child is young.
Yeah, because they don't understand, and they don't understand excuses, and there shouldn't be. Yeah.
But then again, my dad never did that. My dad never not turned up. My dad always said he'd be there, and he was there.
Right, your wedding.
Apart from the wedding, but that's you know. that happens.
Yeah.
And to be fair, again, I respect my dad for that, because he made the decision, and it made it easier for my mum and all that kind of thing. And I think sometimes that's just weddings and whatever. Oh,
yeah, you see, that's another thing with family get-togethers, weddings, funerals, Christmas.
How do you do the Christmas day? Who do you have for dinner?
I think if you're old enough,
I tell you what you do. You don't pick any of them.
You don't pick any of them.
You have your family. You have your family, and that's it.
Your family. If you're old enough.
Yeah.
If you're a child, you kind of sent wherever.
Yeah.
Depends what the relationship's like between the parents, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some can actually get together and have quite an amicable meal together a little bit, but there's always that elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And no matter how you try to
it's a bit like the Christmas Wham video, isn't it? Because obviously George Michael's girls over there with Andrew, and last Christmas she was with him, and
yeah, it's very, very difficult. It's never going to be easy, ever. Yeah.
So we've never put ourselves in that situation, have we?
No, we've not, because my situation in particular was difficult because there was never a choice to be made.
No.
Because I'd already made that choice. And I will say this, I did have a fantastic relationship with my mother, but not with my dad.
Yeah.
Not with my dad, but that is the decision I made. I knew that if I couldn't accept my dad's new woman, which, remember, it was all a big secret until I was about 45, I knew that I was going to, if I couldn't accept her, I knew I was going to sacrifice the relationship with my dad. I couldn't have it both ways.
Yeah.
So that's the choice I made. I chose my mother. Yeah. And to this day, I do not regret that at all. That doesn't mean I love my father any less. It means I don't like the choices he made and the decisions he made.
Yeah.
But then the whole relationship with my dad was based on lies. Remember, he told me there wasn't, he let me believe that there wasn't anybody else involved in his life. My mother and father had just split up, and that is wrong.
Yeah.
And going back to the kids, if you want to see your other parent, you've got to be honest with the parent that you're with. You've got to tell them, look, I want to see my dad. He's going to have his new woman with him, or Dad.
Yeah, that's what I did, didn't I?
Dad, I want to see my mother. She's got a new boyfriend with her, but I still want to see her.
Yeah.
Be honest about it. Don't try and lie to protect that parent.
Yeah,
because you're not going to protect them. You're going to hurt the feelings.
But I told my mum right from the offset when I started seeing my dad again, I'm going to go and see my dad, and well, I don't like I say, I don't know if she spoke. His new woman's going to be there, and she was quite okay with that. If I wanted to see my dad, I had to accept his partner.
But I was on the other end, I didn't.
See, this is ideal while we can talk about this video, because because we both have different points of view.
Yeah, June's not a very forgiving person, sadly. It's one of our worst character traits.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is, and I was quite happy to accept that the relationship was going to be strained.
So we're not rounding this up, but we'll just go over some things now. So don't expect yourself to have a real good relationship with the child that you're leaving if you are leaving that child.
No, you can have a good relationship, but it would be different. Be prepared, be ready, and they're going to be bloody angry.
Yeah, they're going to be angry.
Because it's almost like a bereavement, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a way, it's like a bereavement of the life you knew. It was life.
It's embarrassing.
Oh, I don't know. I was never embarrassed, although perhaps I should have been, because thinking back, this is poor old June. But I can remember kids stopping calling for me because my mother was living in this house that my dad had bought. You know, granted, he used to come and see me after school, pick me up from school and see me, and I thought my dad with my mother's bit on the side.
Yeah.
So kids were like, oh, she's a bit funny, she is, not whether she's a prostitute, got a fancy man and all this, that and the other. So kids stopped calling for me, and that was quite sad, really. But at the time, I was young enough not to really know and not really care, to be quite honest.
Yeah, so you've got to be prepared for that. You've also got to sit down with your kid and actually have a chat with that child, or the child. If you are watching me and your parents have split up, you've got to get your parents either together or on their own, and explain how you feel. And if your father has left for another woman, get your father and get him to take you down football or McDonald's or wherever.
Yeah, neutral territory.
And just say, look, this is how I feel, Dad. I can't accept your other person, but I can accept you. I don't know, you might even want to show him this video. And if you do show him that video, your flesh and blood should be more important to you, your own son, right? And if he can't accept your partner, then that partner won't accept that situation. Then that partner you're now with isn't worth it. They should accept that you have flesh and blood, you have a child, and that child needs their parents.
Yeah, and if that parent doesn't want a relationship with the stepmother, stepfather, whatever,
accept that. And work a way around it.
Well, the thing is, that might come with time.
Yeah.
That might come with time.
Exactly. That might come with time. Give it time to work out. That's a very, very good point, June.
Yeah, well, I think you just got to give everybody a chance to heal.
You have got to give people time and find the footings and stuff, and it might come
Another thing I'd just quickly like to say is, all you kids, remember finances are going to be stretched.
Yeah.
For your mother, your father, whoever's left on their own. So try not to make the life any more difficult by banging on because you haven't got the best phone and the best trainers or whatever. Just try and be a little bit understanding.
And the other parent, who is probably still got more funds, don't spoil the kids and turn the other parent against them, because what will happen is that kid will work out what a complete prick you are being by just trying to buy.
That's exactly what happened with my dad, you see.
June's dad just kept buying her everything because he thought he was doing the right thing, but all he did was just piss her off even more.
Because June's not daft.
Yeah, June's not daft. The communication, don't just bottle it all up, kids. Don't bottle it all up. It's a tough one because people might email me after this and leave messages, and I haven't really. All I can do, and all June can do, is just give you our experiences. We can't really. Well, we can't
tell you what to do, but the only thing I can tell you to do, and I will tell you to do, is try and talk.
Yeah. It's one
Starting
of those
the conversation off is going to be the difficult thing.
Yeah.
Starting that conversation. If you can't start a conversation...
Yeah. Letter.
Email.
Letter. A text or something.
Just And
if you've got something to say to that parent who's left, you've got to get around it, because what it will do, it will actually eat up into you. I can remember sitting down the local pub, and I weren't crying because I don't fucking cry over stuff. But I was upset.
Unless it's an animal suffering.
Oh, I can't be doing with animals suffering. And I can remember this girl, she was a mate with some of the girls that just hung around us, a bit like the Pepsi and Shirleys of our group. And no, she wasn't a slag. She just come up and says, "Dave, what's up?" And I just told her, and I felt a lot better after telling her. And you don't know who can listen to your problems sometimes.
Sometimes you just need somebody to listen. Don't you? You don't need to
Debbie
be told
was
what
her
to
name,
do.
Debs, and she was great. I don't know where the fuck she is now. I ain't got a clue.
No, sometimes though you don't need people to tell you what to do. Now this is one good thing my father was very good at. He was very good at listening. He never actually told you what to do. He let you talk, and by talking, quite often you found a solution. And in fact, quite late in life, my dad did sort of want me to have a relationship with what would have been my stepmother, I guess. And I said, "Dad, that ain't never gonna happen." And he said, "Why?" I said, "It's too late." And he accepted that. He wasn't angry with me. He accepted what I was saying, and he understood. So any parent worth the salt will understand. And the chances are they've been to hell and back making the decision they've made to separate. So, and I would imagine that they've gone through every scenario, and this is the only choice they feel they've got. So don't imagine, kids, that they've done this lightly. They would have put a lot of thought into it. It's how you cope afterwards.
I
and what
also
happens afterwards.
think that because we've been in the situation with our parents, it's made us work harder at our marriage, isn't it?
It has, because as we've said before, there's been times where I've thought, oh God, wait,
Yeah.
I've had enough.
Yeah. Because
But because of what's happened to me,
Yeah.
because of what's happened to you, we've battled through it, and Christ, we're glad we have.
well,
we're
we've
glad
come
we
through
have.
the tunnel, haven't we? I mean, fuck me, love that.
Yeah, we have.
got
We've been through hell and back, really, with
Yeah.
various things, haven't we? But
And now we've, or I've got a successful YouTube channel.
yeah, and it's driving me nuts,
It's
man.
driving her nuts. It's driving her fucking nuts. This YouTube is causing more problems than my fucking debt. Don't it work? So we've got 5 minutes left, left, June. Is there anything else you'd like to add apart from?
Just I'd like to reiterate, any party, parents, kids, step-parents, whatever, do not lie
Yeah.
to protect anybody, because you won't. All you'll do is make yourself
Yeah.
into a liar.
If you're going to go and see your dad and his new partner, let your mum know. She probably won't be happy about it, but she'll probably respect you of what you've told her.
Yeah, because if you don't say anything and she finds
Yeah.
out afterwards, she's going to feel doubly betrayed.
And then every time you go out again, it'll be, what you doing, meeting your dad and her again. And it's not a nice place. I never actually lied to my mum about that when I found out I was going to start seeing my dad again. And my mum was quite supportive of it. I don't know whether she agreed with it,
Yeah.
but she was quite okay with it. So, folks, if you do actually tell the parent you're with that you're meeting the other parent and their partner, they might welcome it. And the fact that you've been grown up enough to tell them what's happening, it just changes the situation.
Yeah,
And then you can actually turn around and say, I never lied, I told you I was doing this.
Yeah, I think that kind of thing comes with time, because when
Yeah.
it immediately happens, I think what you've just got to do is give yourself time. And this is to the parents out there as well. Give your kids time to adjust.
Yeah.
Because emotions are going to be running high, people are going to be angry, they're going to be cross, they're going to be upset, they're going to be bitter. So you've just got to give people a bit of time. That might take a year, it might take 2 years.
I think it
might
took
take
me a
3
couple of years before I was actually on proper terms with my dad again.
Yeah, and I think
And I think my dad knew that. I think my dad thought, if I give him time and space, we'll be all right.
Yeah,
My sister took ages.
yeah.
My sister was a complete nightmare over it. Well, she was loyal to my mum. But
Yeah.
then you have to...
Yeah, well, I was loyal to my mum, but I made the choice.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be loyal to my mother,
Yeah.
then I've got to forfeit the relationship
Yeah.
with my father, and I did that, and I think my dad understood that.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when my mother died, the only person I wanted to see was my dad.
Yeah.
Didn't want anybody else.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see my dad.
Yeah.
So whatever happens in life, however it's handled, your dad is still your dad.
Yeah, and I think that's how I felt,
there's that connection. I perhaps didn't get the opportunities that you got.
No.
Because, like I say, it was all kept secret. It was all kept secret.
And I worked at the opportunities to be with my dad, kind of thing. You know, I got the chances. And
Yeah.
that, well, then you see, I don't know. It's that. But we got 2 minutes.
I could have had a relationship with my dad,
Yeah.
but I refused to accept his other woman and his
Yeah.
other life and his other family.
Yeah.
So,
But my dad never had another family, he just had another woman.
yeah.
So I suppose...
But you were willing to accept that. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying to people out there is, if you're not willing to accept it, then there comes a point where you're going to have to move on and forge another path for yourself. I don't
Yeah.
mean cut them out of your life altogether,
Yeah.
but accept that you're not going to see them as much, they're not going to be around, you're not going to have quality father time,
Yeah.
because when all's said and done, he's chosen another life. I'm not saying that's right,
Yeah.
because to me, as a parent, your child should come first.
Right.
My mother never actually bothered with
We're
it.
not stopped, I'm just telling you, we've got about a minute and a half
Oh,
left.
right,
so-
what you were doing?
No.
Sorry, I've lost my thread now because you've put me off.
No.
You've put me off.
Yeah, so hopefully, folks, this video has helped you and pointed you in some ways. The idea is basically just talk to people, just let them know how you feel. Parents, don't think everything's going to be okay, because it's not fucking okay. You've left your kid behind. Or kids behind, and that ain't fucking nice. So if people do have any questions, put them in the comments below, and anybody who wants us to do another subject on these kind of video on these personal hard subjects, if we've got the experience, we will talk about them. All right, folks, laters. Say bye, June.
Bye.